Please stay with us. We'll now learn a bit more about Pope Francis, who was the first Latin American Pope and was elected on March the 13th of 2013. He was known for humility and social justice advocacy. He was known as a man of humility and someone who held love and care for everyone in his heart. He once washed his feet of prisoners and is known for embracing the disabled. In 2013, he was titled Person of the Year. Throughout his life, he was known for several feats, like promoting environmental protection with Laudato Si, calling for zero tolerance against church sexual abuse, leading solitary prayer in empty street St. Peter's during the pandemic, declaring criminalizing homosexuality a sin, and becoming the first pope to address G7 summit in 2024. We are now joined by Joshua Barnes, correspondent once again. Joshua, what have you got for us?
Yes, Thomas, we now have some more world leaders' reactions for you. Of course, messages of sorrow, messages of sadness, but also messages of celebration feeding through from world leaders. I'd like to start off with Argentinian leader Javier Milei. Of course, this is where Pope Francis is from. He was the Archbishop of Buenos Aires. We've had the message translated here. He says, "Goodbye with deep sorrow. I learn this sad morning that Pope Francis, Jorge Bergoglio, which of course was his name before he became the pontiff, passed away today and is now resting in peace. Despite differences that now seem minor, having had the chance to know him in person." Sorry, we have some issues here with our screen operator. I move on now to Keir Starmer, who is the leader of the United Kingdom, Prime Minister of the UK. He says he is deeply saddened to hear of the death of His Holiness Pope Francis. His tireless efforts to promote a world that is fairer for all will leave a lasting legacy. On behalf of the people of the United Kingdom, I share my sincerest condolences to the whole Catholic Church. We've of course had messages as well from the Scottish First Minister. We've had messages from Ireland as well. This is Karen Keller-Sutter. This is the Swedish leader. He was a great spiritual leader, a tireless advocate for peace, and his human warmth was a comfort not only to Catholics. Pope Francis has left us, his legacy will remain. And this is a message that has been clear from the world leaders who have spoken about Pope Francis. It's not just him touching the Christians and the Catholics, around 1 billion of them in this world, but also those who aren't Catholics. Pope Francis focusing on humanity, focusing on human rights, also focusing on wars as well, and really looking to push forward the humanitarian aspect of those. We move to Michelle O'Neill now, Northern Irish leader, First Minister of Sinn Féin. I'm very sad to learn of the death of Pope Francis, a man of great faith and a strong, determined leader. During his visit to Ireland in 2018, he spoke passionately in support of the peace process. He also marked the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement, giving thanks for the peace it delivered. I then will just go to the end. I extend my condolences to Archbishop of Armagh and Primate of all Ireland, Eamon Martin, church leaders here in Ireland and throughout the world. These messages, of course, world leaders, but it really is a global message. White House have released a statement, but they've also released these images here. Rest in peace, Pope Francis. This, of course, Donald Trump and his wife Melania with Pope Francis. We then move to J.D. Vance. This, of course, is a recent picture taken yesterday when Pope Francis met with J.D. Vance during his visit to Italy. Moving now to the Australian nation, Anthony Albanese. I won't go through the full statement, but you can see here that across the world, world leaders are putting out their condolences. Lai Ching-te, the Taiwanese leader, president of Taiwan, has also expressed his condolences. We have European nations, South American nations, North American nations, Australasian nations. Pope Francis and the Christianity and Catholicism has truly touched the world. Across the world there is celebration. Let's now head back to Georgia Maloney here. She spoke about her friendship with Pope Francis, spoke about the work that he did to conserve the world, to also support the world as well. We'll just gloss over some of the others that we have brought up as well. Narendra Modi, he was one of the first leaders to react, posting this, saying that he was deeply pained to hear Pope Francis's passing, also seeing these vigils. The President of Israel as well will keep moving forward, just giving you an extent of the number of world leaders who are reaching out and sending their condolences. Friedrich Merz, the incumbent Chancellor in waiting in Germany. Emmanuel Macron, another one of the first leaders to respond, sharing an image of him and his wife with the late Pontiff. And finally, we look at J.D. Vance's message. Of course, J.D. Vance, the last world leader to meet with Pope Francis, as far as we are aware, in that Sunday service. Of course, Pope Francis dying this morning at 7:30 a.m. The situation, we know, for Pope Francis was difficult. His health deteriorating. He spent over a month in hospital, passing away this morning. But this is how the world leaders and many of those celebrating his life are remembering him.
Joshua, thank you very much. We will now move on. If you're just joining us, we are covering the death of Pope Francis, who's died at the age of 88 after a statement from the Vatican says he died at 7:35 local time today on Easter Monday. He was the first Latin American leader of the Catholic Church and died in Italy. His death comes a day after he appeared in St. Peter's Square to wish Happy Easter to thousands of worshippers who showed up in the centre of the Vatican yesterday to see Pope Francis after his long stint in Rome's hospital, after he was battling double pneumonia for weeks, after he was submitted to Rome's Gemelli Hospital on Valentine's Day this year. He was recently discharged from hospital last month after receiving 5 weeks of treatment after an infection. As you can see, world leaders' reactions, including the UK Prime Minister, King Charles of the United Kingdom, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. You have the White House releasing statements. We are now joined by a guest.